I am not an AI, or am I? New tools are coming out that are making it hard to distinguish between human and robot, and just maybe we are moving closer and closer to having humans merging with machines. We'll talk about this and other topics on today's episode of Today in Tech. Welcome back to Today in Tech. I'm Keith Shaw. With me, as always, is Chris behind the buttons, pushing the buttons behind the camera. So how are you, Chris?
Pretty good. Actually, a lot better now since I just had my own image recreated by some AI tech.
Yes, we're going to talk about AI this week. It is the buzz sweeping the internet, and there are two new tools that everyone is talking about. That has all these creative types that are buzzing and pearl clutching, I might say, is a good word, and they're all worried about the future of AI taking over everything. But we're going to kind of like calm everybody down, but talk about what's going on. So the first thing that I want to talk about is this Lensa AI, which is an AI-generated selfie creator. It's an app for the iPhone. Only works on the iOS at the moment, so sorry, Android people, you're just going to have to wait. But what you do is you upload 10 to 20 selfie images of yourself. So if you're like me, I actually had to go create a few selfies to get this to work. Because normally when I take selfies, it's with other people. I barely ever do a selfie of just myself, which is more of like, and then do you call those groupies? I guess, but that's a totally different kind of phrase.
Yeah. I have those images if we want to show them.
Well, no, not yet. So you have to pay for them, and you have to pay to get the AI to generate some of these images. The best value, so we did 100 for $12. I did some for Chris, 50 for $8. There's another higher level but I couldn't remember what that number was. Or you could do a subscription, $4 a month if you really get into this, if you're really into that whole AI generated things. I think most people are going to try it once just to see what happens and go for those. All right, so it's similar to a tool that came out about 6 months ago called DALL-E. I think they're now on version 2 of this. It's DALL-E 2. It's made by a company called OpenAI. They got a lot of Silicon Valley investors behind it. And what that does is it takes you type in a text prompt, and the AI will then try to recreate that picture. So when you do that, you get a lot of funny images, and we'll get to those in a second. So, of course, humans being humans, people have already figured out ways to make it not safe for work images and you could trick the AI to make. We'll just call them not safe for work pictures if you take your face and put it on the body of someone else who's more attractive, I might say. And so there is a way around the NSFW filters. The second tool I want to talk about, and again, we're going to jump in with this, Chris, so don't worry, I'm going to go to you, is ChatGPT. And this is a text-based chatbot that lets you type in a question, statement, or a proposal, and it uses predictive text to spit out an answer. And you can do things like have it write jokes, you can have it write an essay, you can ask it a question, and the algorithm will spit out content pretty quickly. I think I had it create a joke about Batman and the Penguin, and it was actually pretty good when I tried it. So, but yeah, on the IT side, there was in this Wall Street Journal article, if you want to bring that up, Chris, there was an example where a programmer was having difficulty with kind of creating a specific set of codes, and he typed in the question and the problem he was having, and the system could find and basically write the code for him in terms of solving the problem. So it's not just kind of doing goofy stuff at the moment, although I think the goofy stuff is good, but it also has some implications down the road. But on the other hand, you also have people about, like artists that create original drawings and artwork, and they're worried about copyright. Like if the AIs can do all this stuff, how am I going to get paid? So I want to bring in Chris here because you are the man behind the curtain. And we have to remind everybody that, a lot of these algorithms are written by humans. And so there are some inherent biases.
Right.
There is some discussion from the political side of things where these tools can be used for evil. So let's go back to the Lensa AI. I do think that these are rather amusing images.
Okay, yeah, I can bring that up.
Okay. So the first one we're going to show me. All right, so this is. I like this one because I wear hoodies all the time, and so this is a good representation of what I sort of wear. Now the image itself, I would kill for hair like that, I think.
Right?
Wouldn't you? I mean, it just seems so perfectly styled. My hair is a mess half the time. It sort of got my beard and facial hair right because my mustache never does connect to the rest of my face.
You're right.
Yeah, I blame my father for that. That's the genetics. That's the genetic code. I think it gave me blue eyes. I would kill for blue eyes as well. Unfortunately, my eyes are hazel, which is... all right, so now we're going to go to this one. This one makes me look like a mixture of Doctor Strange and I see a little bit of Leonardo DiCaprio in this one. And again, I'm not trying to brag or anything. But
You've just come off of a photo shoot there with your monk-like robes.
And it's interesting is that the images that I upload, there was never an image where I was looking off in the direction, like that direction.
Yeah.
So I would love to dig into the whole, how it picks what head position to do that. And this was based on only, I think, 11 photos that I up, and they're all selfies. So it's all like me looking directly into the camera. I think I may have done one shot where I was looking like this because I uploaded a picture.
Go to the next one.
Yeah. Okay. This one is the most controversial one for my friends on Facebook when I posted this.
Space Jesus.
Yes,
Keith.
we're calling this Space Jesus. Now, I want to point out on this one, the part in the hair, I haven't had that style since high school.
Well, no, your part is more
My part is always on the side.
on the right,
and
on your right.
Yeah, and I've got a cowlick.
So now it's putting it in the middle.
So, but I had this look, not the Jesus look, but I had like.
Well, you don't dress like this. You didn't dress like this in the past. No golden, bejeweled.
I did grow up in
robe?
I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I did not have an outfit like this.
Okay.
But like the part in the hair, I was like, well, yeah, I did have that look way back then, but I didn't have, and this one, they took a little liberty with actually giving me a fuller beard than I really do have.
Let's go to the next one here. I don't know if this is
okay.
going to be you or me. Well,
this
it's
is
me.
yeah. So these are some of Chris's. This
Look
is
at that.
we're calling this one Ragnar.
Ragnar, or again, I'm just going to say this: the tech behind this, right, that puts this together is freakishly good. Not all these images are going to be perfect. You can kind of see little tiny nuances. Like if you stare at, one of these images for a good while, you'll start to see, oh, I see what it did there.
Yeah.
Maybe an eyeball will be off or something.
Right.
So it's like really doing a lot of work behind the scenes to try to make it look good.
Okay, now go to your image. Go to like just so that people can see how cool your beard in real life is. No, not that one.
Myself.
Yourself.
Oh, myself. Yeah.
Okay. So you've got a pretty good. I mean, I'm jealous of the beard.
It liked my beard, so it took a lot of liberty with my beard.
So that's why you were pretty happy about this one. Now in this image, which I mean really looks like it's almost like a photo of you.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
Yeah, and the beanie hat, like we checked all of the photos that we uploaded, and you were not wearing any beanie hats. There was one where you were sort of wearing a hat.
It was a beanie hat. It's one of those beanie hats that have let me see, that has a duck bill.
Yeah.
On my hat right now,
right.
But it would be a beanie. So yeah, it just decided, hey, he wears beanies, so we're gonna slap a beanie on him. It's not the same color as the one I was wearing. The one I was wearing was like light gray, and this is brown. But again, man, it just goes to show like the tech behind it. It's like freakishly good.
Yeah,
and I think Keith, what you were saying, it's gotten a lot of artists and creatives panties in a bunch. So let me see what the next one is.
Yeah, good. Did you upload the one where? Okay, we haven't. Okay, so this was a side. Now this
is my profile one.
Yeah, I did update you. Like I did upload a version that you had of a side shot. So
yeah, like side profile.
So it probably did look at that side profile and go, oh well, I'll generate one that has a side image since I know what the side of his head looks like now.
Yeah, and I definitely wear I don't know, what is that, like a masonry metallurgy vest, like steampunk style. I mean,
that's
I like
the second. That's like the other one looked like overalls.
I like it. I'm actually thinking about going out and buying one of these and trying this style out. I mean, it's even got my glasses right because I wear a thick frame.
What's interesting is that I wear glasses and I'm pretty sure I uploaded images of me wearing glasses, but none of the results had me wearing glasses.
Yeah. Let me just check real quick. Let me just see if we have any more after this.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I do have one more. Here we go. This is the
okay, yeah.
Camera Chris in space.
So a lot of the images that we would get would be either fantasy realm type ones. So that's why I look like Doctor Strange or, a cleric. And
Yeah.
with you, they loved putting you in an astronaut suit.
But how did they know I work with cameras?
I know.
I work
Isn't that freaky?
Yeah.
Yeah. I said this would be cameraman Chris on the moon.
I mean, maybe it is a camera. I don't know exactly. It looks like a camera with like two lenses. You got like a lens.
Well, that's
here.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of an old school camera.
Okay. Yeah.
You would then advance the film that
Right.
way, and then also like the text on top of it looks Russian,
You don't know the name of that text? The font that they use? It's called Not Russian.
not Russian.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a real font.
Right.
Can you go back to the Space Jesus one of me?
Yeah. And we
Okay.
just cycle back here. Space Jesus. Here we go. Space Jesus Keith coming up.
Okay, so I posted this on my Facebook, and a bunch of people said that they liked this one the best because I was like, I want to change this on my. So I changed that to my profile image. My wife immediately said, "Take this down." Like this freaks her out for some reason. So I don't know if it's the hair part,
Yeah.
the full beard, or what. But again, It's
actually
There was-
the angelic light
it was the one image
that surrounds you.
I think I
That's what
did get
does it.
one with me in glasses, but it wasn't very good. So, I'm impressed. So the Lens AI stuff, I'm really impressed with because, again, DALL-E, about 6 months ago, my son and I tried this. We got hooked on kind of coming up with crazy sort of ideas to try to see if the AI would generate it. And so you have those images, right?
Yeah. Which ones are we gonna look at?
So we're going to look at the early stuff. So let's look
Okay.
at do you have the John Wilkes Booth? Yeah. So this is John Wilkes Booth hosting Saturday Night Live.
So like, how did this work? Like, what did you have to do to get images like this?
You go to the website and
Yeah.
this was, I think, DALL-E Mini. So this was when it first came out, and it took a long time to generate the images. And you would type in a phrase, and then it would try to
Piece something together.
piece something
right?
together of like, here's the different choices that the AI came up with. So again, that's why the images are really kind of fuzzy looking. If
Yeah.
you go to the next one, I think this was Elton John playing checkers.
A little
Again,
freakish.
yeah, I mean, and again, it's scanning the source of the internet to say, like, what does Elton John look like? What would it look like if he was playing checkers? They don't really get the faces.
Like
really
if I took my glasses off and looked at it, okay, I can kind of see the shapes and stuff of like what. But once I put my glasses on, it's like, oh, okay.
Okay, so the latest version is called DALL-E 2. And I went there and typed this in again today. And so now you get more photorealistic images now that's not Elton John, obviously, but it's people that
Trying to find images, who look like him.
people that sort of look like John, and they certainly got checkers right in the first three. I don't know what the last one is, but then I typed in Elton John playing checkers in impressionist style. So if you type in an art style, it then makes the drawing look, like it was. So this is impressionist Elton John playing checkers.
Right. And for the people who are just listening in on the podcast, what we're seeing is like kind of the same thing, but more vibrant, like stylized. It looks like a painting.
Like
almost.
a painting rather than a
Like
photo.
what is it? Like a Van Gogh or something? Maybe not. I'm not an art.
Monet,
snob, but-
Monet,
yeah, there
or
you go.
Manet, one of those
Literally
two.
looks like a painting. So
Yeah. All right. And so then the third one we did, I think this is the last one that I want to show. All right. This was, sometimes it gets it wrong. So I typed in B. Arthur and Alf fighting crime in a superhero comics book style. So out of those words, it certainly got the style right. That does look like it could be a comic book. And I think they sort of got B. Arthur right, but they totally missed on who Alf was. Alf being the alien life form puppet thing from the 80s. So they're it's not perfect. But what I do think is that as the tools mature, if you were looking to try to hire a real illustrator, someone, and if I just told you that I wanted an illustration of Elton John playing checkers, they would probably come up with some ideas, but it might take a little bit of time for them to sort of get what you wanted.
right.
What I like about this is you could go to this tool, type in your response, get a couple of ideas, and then maybe something jumps out at you, and then you could then take that image and not use it and publish it, but then go to your illustrator and say, make something that sort of looks like this. Now, I don't know if people are going to take that next step. I think they would probably just be like, well, I'll just publish the AI image.
Yeah, and I think this opens up the question, not to like jump too far ahead in the conversation, but it's like, is this kind of ethical to do? It kind of gets behind the ethics of it, and
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, there was some discussion about, how did you, again, train the AI to learn about different styles. And so some people saying, well, my face was used as part of the database. And, it depends on, there's some privacy questions around the rights that people have.
Because it's got to source, like some of the samples that it's using, right? It's not just...
Right. It's a lot like the early days of AI training. I don't know if you remember this, but when Google was training its AI, they were trying to get it to recognize the difference between a picture of a cat and a picture of a dog. So they had to basically load up all of the images of cats and then basically keep telling the AI, this is what a cat looks like, this is what a dog looks like. And eventually, again, as you run more and more of these data queries, the algorithm gets better and it can now predict. And again, this technology is used in real business purposes, even in robots, like to train how to pick up an object with the robot hand. It's because of the algorithms that were created to help the computer or the robot, which is the same thing, recognize where to pick it up and what to do. And it gets way deeper, way beyond my pay grade in terms of technical knowledge, but that's where it all started. And so. If you have bad, it's that whole phrase, garbage in, garbage out. Like if your data isn't good to start with, you're not going to get a great result. But as you give them more and more images and more styles, then this AI will figure out what will look good. I mean, the stuff from Lensa and the stuff from DALL-E is amazing.
Yeah, and the way I look at this is like kind of like a good example of how this could become tools, not a replacement, because again, a lot of people, especially artists and stuff, they're kind of like looking at this like, yikes, what happens if clients just start asking and I know this probably won't happen, but like what if they just asked for images from this app, right? Like you start buying artwork from this AI generated app. And
I wouldn't be surprised if people started doing that, but
because you were saying,
I think the first response that a lot of people have is, oh crap, I can't.
Yeah, well,
I'm going to be out of a job if I'm a creative professional. If I'm an artist, I would be a little worried about this too. But maybe work again. The same thing happened with painting apps.
Yeah,
back in the day. I mean, I would say try to. I don't want to say embrace the tool, but use the tool rather than just fight against it.
Right. Well, because you brought up a good point about. Again, looking at this as a tool, how this could be used to conceptualize something, right? Like if an artist has a client and they're like, yeah, well, we want this painting to look like this, right? And so you as the artist, you might take this app and be like, all right, I'm just going to put this in this app, see what it spits out. That way I have like a starting point. But what happens if your client decides, I actually like the concept. Just give me the concept.
Yeah.
And I think it's up to us, right, to kind of draw some lines with this tech, especially when we're talking about AI tech. Like there needs to be some lines drawn, Yeah. That way it doesn't totally replace the things that we do as humans. So.
Yeah, I was thinking about this as like, could they eventually replace me as a video host on a podcast?
No.
Well. Yeah, I mean, they could probably write a script better than I could at this point.
Yeah.
But an AI is not just going to go pickles in the middle of a discussion or something like that. That's what makes me human, is my ability to shift gears and kind of go on to the next topic. And I don't know, maybe there's some AI out there that can do that, pickles, things like that. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was ChatGPT. We didn't really get into this. This is the text-based version, where it could write a joke, or it could write a script, or it could write and that is really impressive. I think if you go to the Wall Street Journal article,
okay,
there's an example. The example they used in the article was, I think it was so there's the werewolves one. So someone typed in, go back up. So it was, do werewolves exist? And it says, and it gives you basically an answer. It's not like a Wikipedia type answer. It's not like a Google search. It's basically trying to predict what you want based on the question that you're writing.
Yeah, and it can do more than just answer questions, right? It can kind of like write blogs. It could I don't know, come up with a poem, come up with like a short song or something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
I mean, I could write a song right now with this tool if I said like write a song about breaking up with Taylor Swift, and anyone wants to try that, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll put that on the show notes page or something like that. Like, yeah. Here's the song that it wrote about me and Taylor Swift.
Jeez. In response to, oh, look at this.
What was that one?
In response
who
to
am I?
who
Yeah, I
am
mean,
I?
they get pretty philosophical.
I cannot answer your question about who you are. Only you can know and define yourself. Okay, that makes me feel better a little bit.
And again, this does seem more useful now than some of the earlier like voice recognition things like Alexa and some of those tools early on. You know, we have one of those in our house, and it's the only thing we use it for is to give us the time, set an alarm, play some music. But you can ask it to tell you a joke, and it'll tell you a joke. You can do other things with these things, but I think most people are just like, just tell me what time it is or set an alarm.
Right.
Especially like when all my kids are cooking, they all just ask Alexa. Well, we changed the name from Alexa to Echo because we were watching too many TV shows, and someone said Alexa on the TV show, and it started beeping.
So beyond, let's say, brainstorming, right? And I'm talking about Chat GPT, right?
Yeah.
Because it auto generates text basically, right?
But yeah,
Using AI. Do we think, there might be an application for this, I don't know, down the road, for larger applications?
On the good side or the bad side? Because I can think of many.
Let's start with the good.
All right. The good is harder to think about than the bad, actually. On the good side, I think the coding example, where the guy used it to solve a particular coding issue he was having, I think that's good.
Actually, yeah, that's right here.
Yeah.
Wall Street Journal reported.
Yeah, if you scroll down, there's the tweet.
Yeah.
And I just did my job. I asked him to help me fix a problem. It understood exactly what I was trying to do and demonstrated impressive proficiency with the tools I was already using.
Wow.
So yeah, so if if you've got a programming department and you're stuck on a particular problem, like maybe this is something that could work down the road.
So it's basically it's the next evolution of asking Google.
Right. I think Google should be worried about something like this because then again, Google made money off of this because of the advertising implications, and you want to get to the top of the charts. You've got SEO, and there's and again, it's all because people are trying to game the algorithm. Even this video on YouTube is we do certain things to try to get more viewers and more, like hit that like and subscribe button. If you do that, that helps boost the algorithm, helps boost our views, helps spread the message of Keith, which Space Jesus tells you to watch this.
Space Jesus Keith.
Yeah, we're gonna put that on a T-shirt at some point once we get popular. Once Space Jesus starts, maybe that should be a hashtag too.
Yeah.
All right, so.
The bad.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to think if there's some other good things.
Okay,
I would say more of the, automating this into a process is something that a lot of companies are exploring on the business side. So I think that will still work, and you can sort of avoid the bias and the politics and the goofiness of that at the moment. So that's the good. The bad in terms of the Chat GPT stuff.
Wait, hold on. Can I chime in on the good?
Yeah, sure. You got any more good ideas?
I just thought about this.
Okay.
And I don't know if it applies to how Chat GPT works, but maybe the tech can work with this other tech. But I'm just thinking like predictive analytics or something like using AI to predict things in data, right? So say in like geology, I don't know if there's like predictive analytics that can predict, we can like use Chat GPT, whatever the tech behind it, to predict, like, I don't know, maybe it could predict the weather better than our average weatherman.
Well, those are all computerized data models that have been around for 10 to 20 years, and they still get some things wrong.
Or, it could help in, I don't know, modern medicine. I guess that's a whole other can of worms to get into.
They are. In the medical space, the AI is being used to read radiology X-rays and better determine if you've got a tumor somewhere or whatever you go into when you get a CAT scan. because
Right.
again, they've got millions and millions of images from previous scans. They fed those into the algorithm. They said, this is bad, this little dot is good, or not, or this little dot is bad, and here's why. And
Yeah.
yeah,
So
and again, and here's the thing: it's not, it's AI plus doctors working together that provides a better result. If you just let the AI do it, they do about as great a job as if you just had a human doing it. But when you combine the human and the AI, then you get it's then 1 + 1 = 3.
right.
Instead of 1 = 1 and the other 1 = 1. And now we're getting into math.
Yeah, and
But
like,
it's that extra bonus you get by working together. And that's why in the opening when I talked about merging, it's not about AI replacing humans, but AI or robots working together to get a greater result.
yeah, and let's just make one thing clear: we're not like app devs or stuff like that, or
We'll
you know,
have to get-
mathematicians,
yeah.
and we know exactly what the tech is behind this. Only one can speculate, right? And if I were to think of like the next step in kind of like predictive analytics, AI, and stuff like that, I feel like this is kind of like that next step.
Yeah, I think what surprised people here is that the types of the creativity it was creating.
Yeah,
Like the fact that it could come up with a joke about a penguin and a duck, and the end of the joke was something about, well, you're just being quackers, which I read that to you and you laughed. So in effect, the joke worked.
it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
But sometimes when I tell Alexa to tell us a joke, you get a dad joke, bad pun type thing. It's like, that's not really what I want.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe screenwriters that are struggling with, a scene could type something in as like, create a scene between a podcaster and his producer
Yeah.
that is funny. And then they spit that out.
Maybe ChatGPT can help Hollywood come up with some new ideas.
Yeah, watch it come up with like another.
Instead of rehashing, doing remakes and stuff like that. Maybe they could take a hint from ChatGPT and
Okay, here's
asking for a new Hollywood franchise to produce.
Here's my pitch: Space Jesus and Chris, the astronaut cameraman, go to the moon and fight aliens.
Sold.
Okay,
Let's do it.
500 million. I want 10% on the back end.
Actually, we shouldn't have said that, because you know what's going to happen?
Someone's going to do it.
Someone's going to do it. Someone's going to put together a pitch.
Well, now
pitch
I gotta-
to Hollywood,
I-
an idea
Yep.
to Hollywood using ChatGPT. It's going to happen. It's going to be called the first AI generated movie.
See, now, I've read articles about that happening, and again, the results have not been good. Like, we can still tell the difference between, an AI or not. Now, if you bring up
Yeah.
again one of those pictures from that Lens AI app, and you didn't tell me this was generated by a computer, if you just said, "Hey, I went to the mall and I got this really cool painting of myself. What do you think?"
I'd be like, yeah, you must have spent a lot of money.
This is still right, and it's still better than the $5 caricature things that you get on the boardwalk.
Right. I actually thought about getting this printed on a metal display, hanging up in my office, and be like,
You like it that much, huh?
there you go. Yeah, I don't know. It's got this, The Last Samurai vibes. With,
All right.
anyways, getting off topic.
All right, we did talk about the good. I want to talk about the bad. I'm just going to give you not a like bad evil. Well, I guess in some places it would be. I could see students and other kids that are lazy just using this to write an essay.
Oh, absolutely.
Back when I was in high school, we had things called Cliff Notes, where if you didn't read the book, you could get the summary.
it was Spark Notes.
So when you went to school, it's probably Spark Notes. When I went to school, it's called Cliff Notes, or Cliff's Notes. And it was funny because the first page of the book was always like, these are not cheat guides, but these are supplemental materials. Like they already knew that, like, you should,
Right.
they might as well just said you should be reading the book, dummy.
Right. It's just an add-on. It's just an add-on.
They were winking. They knew what people were doing. And I was beyond school when Wikipedia came out, but we know that teachers look at Wikipedia all the time to see if the essays that are being submitted to them were just basically copied and pasted off of Wikipedia. So we know that those types of things exist. I could just see that's the next step. It's, write an essay about George Washington and the cherry tree, and then you get something. And, maybe you look at it and you go, oh, this doesn't really sound like me, so maybe I'll just change a couple of the words, and boom, you've got your essay.
Right.
Now, if I had a student, I might ask my kids, maybe you should do that and see what grade you get. Because I'll bet you the teachers don't know about this yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, other bad things for Chat GPT. What else do you think of anything else?
Yeah, I got a big one.
Okay.
Just off the top of my head, replacing journalism, just in
Okay.
general.
Yeah, you're right.
Thinking about writing articles. Well, someone can easily just go to ChatGPT and be like, "Hey, write me an article about today's, I don't know, big event that happened in the news, whatever it may be."
Right.
And then boom, it just spits out something and
Yeah, what was interesting about it, I have seen a couple people type in sample blog posts,
yeah.
and the AI generates direct quotes as well, which are not real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you usually when you do a direct quote, it is based on something that you heard as a reporter, so that you've got proof that they said it, or it was a quote on a press release that the person said. All the time of like, so we could start seeing blog posts and people could be like, well, that wasn't me. I never said that. I was misquoted. And I mean, the deep fakes, you know what a deep fake is?
Oh yeah.
So that's on the video side of things, where people are creating, taking video, or creating videos based on audio and then making it look like the person actually said that.
Yeah. And actually,
they had Obama do it. They had one where they took an Obama speech and made him sound like he was saying something that he didn't really say. There's a bunch of Tom Cruise deep fakes where they take a Tom Cruise impersonator and have him do stuff, but then they overlay real images of Tom Cruise. It's pretty scary stuff.
Yeah, no, and I think this may or may not be true, but I'm trying to remember the article where I got it from. Disney. Their de-aging tech that they do.
Yep.
I think what was it in the Mandalorian, the last season?
Yep.
They brought Luke Skywalker back.
Yep.
With a deep fake.
They do it all.
Well, we call it deep fake.
Yeah,
but it's really just CGI.
Right.
But whatever the tech behind it, it did a phenomenal job. I'm trying to.
They've done a bunch in the Marvel movies. Robert
Yep.
Downey Jr., Michael Douglas, and Ant-Man. There's a whole list of all the ones that they've used de-aging on.
Yep. I'm trying to find an image of it, of the Luke Skywalker one, but
Actually, there were a lot of people that were critical of that, saying it just looked awful.
it didn't look that bad.
The first time he appeared, it was awful. I think the next season where he then showed up again at the end of the Book of Boba Fett, then it got better.
Yeah.
That's one where it got better.
I need to watch Book of Boba Fett. I think I only got up to Mandalorian.
I am a little disturbed about the whole putting your face on another person's image.
The problem is it's just getting so good lately. Like it's the tech behind it. It's just so
in
accurate.
order to trick it, you have to sort of be good at Photoshop.
Yeah.
So you could take my face and make it me look a lot better looking than I am now. Please don't do this. Anybody out there watching? I don't need this in my life. But that's another reason, again, I want to stress, I think it's actually good for the bad people to do stuff, because it shows that the system can still be improved. So if people out there are trying to so-and-so hack the system to get dirty results, or, or try to, the developers of this can recognize this and say, hey, wait a minute, maybe we should improve this algorithm or do things that we're like, well, no, we know what you're doing.
Right.
We don't want you to.
Yeah, and then that kind of opens up the other question. I'm just here on the ChatGPT website, just taking a look at it. But that brings up another question. The wizard behind the curtain, right?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like, yeah, this is AI, right? But the thing is, this AI, this algorithm, this whatever, it was created by a person. And because it was created by a person, well, this person may have certain biases towards whatever, right?
Right.
So it's like, yeah, it works great, but if, say if you want to get something from it unbiased, chances are it's probably not going to be unbiased. It's going to, it's going to have its own, opinion, its own direction that it leans in. Right?
I realized that early on in my journalism career when I worked for a newspaper, and I thought every story that I wrote was the most important story of the day. And I would write the story, and then my editor would say, well, no, this is going to go on page B4.
Yeah.
Or B2, because that editor was making the decision based on his own, either, I don't say biases, but his own knowledge about what he thought was more important than other things. Mm-hmm. It's, for example, and again, so when Donald Trump announced his, that he's going to run for president again in 2024, the New York Post ran that on like page 24, right? Okay. And then they wrote a parody of it. Like they just said, like, Florida man announces run for president. Instead of, maybe they were expecting this would be a page one story at some point, or Trump at least thought it would.
Yeah.
Like that shows that editor, that whoever controls the medium really gets to make that ultimate decision. And so that's where you get some inherent biases, even in the journalism.
That's what makes me think, this AI stuff is great. It's a great fad right now. The lens of AI. It's like, honestly, I didn't even want to try it out, but everyone else is doing it. I'm like, I wonder what I'd look like if I put my own selfies in it, right?
Yeah.
But it is a little bit scary to think about that, someone did create this AI, right? So you don't know. You just don't know.
I just think, again, I think that if you have the good and the bad, you will eventually get to a position where you get good.
Yeah.
And it's, again, the first versions of that Dolly stuff. You looked at it and go, that's goofy. They're all pudgy looking. That's not really, you could tell it was a computer. The closer and closer we get to technology that makes us question whether something was created by a human or an AI, then things get really complicated.
Right.
Because if I really was a robot and I tore off my mask here, how freaked out would you be?
I know, right?
Because I still am a human. At least as far as I can tell, I'm still a human.
Right.
That would be really weird if at the end of this episode I just became a robot.
That would be weird. I'm just checking out
the closest thing I can be as a robot is I can do the robot.
Yeah, I'm just checking out the Dolly app right now.
All right, I think we're running out of time. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about on this? I think we're sort of out of time.
That pretty much sums it up. I mean, again, like, I'll end it with this. It's interesting. It's pretty cool. But thinking of like long-term applications, I hope, the people that continue to develop on this give it some hard lines, Yeah. And I know this sounds cheesy, but like, as a human race, right? As humans, we don't give it too much freedom to kind of, give it some limitations and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, so we don't become the people in WALL-E. There we go. I'm going to end it with that.
All right.
That's my point.
I was just going to end with the Facts of Life song from the 80s TV show, which, again, you are too young to know, but you take the good, you take the bad.
Yeah.
And that's my approach. I understand there's good, there's bad things about it, but you don't want to ban it or prevent it from happening. Mm-hmm. Take the bad stuff, fix it, understand that it exists, and then work from there, and then, make a better thing. I mean, that's how, the internet, there's a lot of bad stuff on the internet, but we create security tools to try to fight that.
Right.
Until they create more.
Yep.
But there's also lots of good stuff, like being able to watch videos like this on YouTube.
There we go.
That's right. So that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe. Join us each week for new technology topics and discussion on Today in Tech. I'm Keith Shaw. Thanks for watching.